Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. We've got an absolute packed live stream for you today. Everything from the modders righting the wrongs of the day before. They're righting that wrong, and everything to whispers of Xbox creating their own kind of Joy-Cons. So I assume they're going to be breaking into the handheld space pretty soon. So 2024 is looking like it's going to be a big year. A lot of interesting stuff happening in gaming and in pop culture. So all that in with a bunch of stuff sprinkled throughout. We're going to get into it. But first, we're going to be talking about Will Smith and his inclusion in I Am Legend 2. So as far as I know, all the reports that I've read, I Am Legend 2 is confirmed. They're doing it. I think it even mentions in this article that Will Smith received the script and everything like that. But where I'm coming from with this one is the fact that they can't just not do a cinematic universe. They just can't let a story just be, you know what I mean? And it seems like the ones that you do want to see sequels to, they're not interested in making them. But, and I've said this from the beginning, I don't want to see Will Smith come back just because the theatrical ending was him dying to save the lady and this, I guess, surrogate son that she was going around with. When you do that, you cheapen that kind of ending, and it was a good ending, you know? So we'll scroll down here. It says, I have a call with Michael B. Jordan tomorrow. The script just came in. I'm probably giving away too much information, Smith said. We're going with the mythology of the DVD version where my character lived, which I sincerely think is a mistake. I can't tell you anymore, but Michael B. Jordan is in it, and we're doing it. I'm not mad that they're, continuing the story, but you can continue it without having Will Smith there, show some backbone, let a character die, Oh, are we in John DBZ? Are they talking about, what's his name? Michael B. Jordan? Because I know he was supposed to play the Black Superman too. I heard through reports and whispers and things. I'm not against that because Jon Stewart does exist, and I would love to see Jon Stewart, a Jon Stewart version of the Green Lantern, but the DC versus Marvel. Oh my gosh, what are we talking about? What are we talking about here? I need to know. But yeah, I do remember an article talking about Michael B. Jordan playing a black version of Superman, which I'm sure with how they've been doing the multiverse thing, and it's been going on in the comics forever too. And I'm sure there's a multiverse where there is a black Superman. I haven't been keeping up with the comics like that, so I don't know if they ever touched on it in the comics, right? But I mean, we do have a lot to get to, but let me know. Oh, Will Smith? Oh shoot. Okay. He's got the seasoned, he's all salt and peppered up now that he's a little bit older. I don't doubt that he could probably get into freaking crazy physical shape too to play Jon Stewart. So I don't know if I'm against that or not. I'm leaning more so that I would like to see that. I would like to see that happen. I don't know. I would love to see a trailer. Let me see a trailer of that. Maybe. Right on. Okay. So we're going to move really quick along. We're going to be talking about Steamboat Willie. In not even 12 hours after it hit public domain, there were 3 projects. We had 2 games, one of which looks pretty interesting, and 1 horror movie, right? So So Mickey Mouse, longest symbol in copyright wars to enter public domain, is finally happening. So we know that. Oh yeah, so this is the top-down shooter. It's like a retro type. It looks really cool. But this is by Inverse Ninjas versus Public Domain. And they were on it. They were on it. And don't get me wrong, the game looks pretty interesting. I think they could have polished it up a little bit more, but this is what they said. In our efforts to be the very first, Inverse Ninjas versus the Public Domain has signed an extremely expensive licensing deal of $0 to acquire the exceptionally non-exclusive rights to the most widely beloved cartoon character of all time that isn't named Bugs Bunny. Mickey Mouse from the hit cartoon Steamboat Willie, developer HeroSoft said in a post on Steam. And that's absolutely hilarious. And the why it's causing so much, not uproar, but why it's such big news is because Steamboat Willie is what put Disney on the map. That was what Walt Disney, that was his foray, and it worked out big. And I don't doubt that he had a lot of misses up until then, but you know, Steamboat Willie is what put Disney on the map, and it is where it is today because of it, you know, for better or for worse, right? But so we'll take a look at so we do have this one. I was able to find a video, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to, and this is coming from Games Radar with Anna Marie Osler pinning. So good job. That's awesome, because I didn't even know about that until I saw that one. And here is the horror kind of bend. And you know, we saw this with Winnie the Pooh too. So why is it horror that they're bending these beloved characters into kid characters? It's I don't know what it's all about, because it was Winnie the Pooh, now Mickey Mouse. And I mean, it doesn't seem to be an original thought between a lot of these studios anymore. Like, it's like if Tigger goes into public domain, are they gonna do a horror bend of him too? Like, why not, you know, why not something more uplifting, I guess? I don't know. Not saying that I won't play this game, not saying it doesn't look interesting. I'm just saying it's becoming a trend now. And then we'll get into a lot of the cartoons that were from back in the day that are going to be hitting public domain soon. But it's called Infestation Origins, and they changed the name because apparently there was a World War II reference, if you know what I'm saying. And I didn't think that that's what they were going for, but some people had an issue with it, so they changed it to Origins. It's called Infestation Origins, and it's the debut title by Nightmare Forge Games. The game is an episodic 4-play co-op survival adventure in which players control exterminators tasked with killing mutated vermin, and one of them happens to be a terrifying person-sized monster modeled after Mickey. Similar to games like Phasmophobia and Lethal Company, you'll rely on various tools and surveillance equipment to track the source of the infestations before neutralizing them. You'll also have to maintain power for certain pieces of equipment while evading the giant, murderous rodents. Not gonna lie, that does sound cool, right? It does sound like a good time. But I had to write this down because I forgot the name of the game, but Poppy's Playtime. That's what this looks like to me. So not quite original. They're pulling from different games, but not gonna lie, it does look pretty interesting. Not something I'm gonna be playing or anything I'm into, but I'm sure there's certainly an audience for this. What I wanted to see was Cuphead. I wanted to see that studio create a game around Steamboat Willie, or like give you a skin for Cuphead that you could play as Mickey. I thought that would have been really cool, and you know, fit the character a lot better. But we are going to head over to this one. Oh no, wait, is this the? I'm looking for. No, But okay. But the movie, I think maybe I was able to find it, but maybe not. Nope, that's coming in later. But the movie, I want to say, is called Mickey's Mousetrap, and that one's reminiscent of Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie that the game was based off of. That's what that's reminiscent of. I saw the trailer, and I mean, by no means was I blown away. I will say it is better, much better looking than Blood and Honey. The problem with Blood and Honey, they try to go real with it. You know what I mean? Instead of a killer in a mask, they try to make it actual, Winnie and Piglet. That was absolutely the wrong way to go about it, especially with the budget that they had. It just looked like a guy in a mask, which it was. So they should have owned that, and they could have been at the forefront of that. Now I think that Mickey's Mousetrap is going to do much better. They did make $5 million off of a tiny budget, and they're apparently coming out with a sequel to it, so we'll see how that does. But I am not looking forward to that movie. to Mickey's Mousetrap. If you do catch it, definitely come back to this and leave in the comments what you think about it. Right on. Okay, so John DBZ says, it's easier to make horror with older cartoon characters than doing new, better update things. Look at all the games and movies that got made just from copying things. Sure. I'll give you that one. Especially you can tell by like when Winnie the Pooh came on, got into the public domain, it was like 5 seconds and someone was making a horror, making Blood and Honey. It was like they had it like locked and loaded to get out there into the public. So maybe you're right. Yeah. Maybe it's easier for them to have a horror bend to it than to actually kind of soak it up and like create a story off of it. Sorry, that's my alarm. But I wish it wasn't that way. I would love to see Steamboat Willie on an actual adventure, and not just a masked killer chopping people up. I don't that's cool. I love Scream back in the day, but it's just not my deal anymore. So if you are going to see it, leave that in the comments, let me know. And if you do see it, come back, because I would love to know what you thought of it. A lot of people love Five Nights at Freddy's because it was, they said it kept the feel of the game. So maybe they'll like this one too. I mean, I don't know. But we are moving on to oh yes, so this one is all the characters that are going to be entering into public domain soon. So after Mickey Mouse, all other major characters and franchises who lose copyright in the 2020s, and they do give the years that they're going to be entering the public domain. So, and just like with Mickey Mouse, it's not the current version that they have of Mickey Mouse. It's the black and white version without gloves. Same goes with some of these characters. Like with King Kong, the current iteration is not entering into public domain for a very long time. I want to say it's 95 years that they keep it. You have to re-up or whatever. But starting from the top, we have Popeye the Sailor Man. Another beloved children's character from the earliest days of animation, Popeye the Sailor Man is a spinach-chomping powerhouse known for his unmistakable voice, inhuman feats of strength, and legendary cartoon antics, first appearing in a comic strip in 1929. The rights to Popeye are currently held by Warner Bros. Discovery, who haven't done much with the property since Gennady Tartakovsky's planned 3D animation Popeye film was canceled. Compared to Winnie the Pooh, Popeye may be better suited to horror, making the inevitable edgy take on Popeye following the entrance in the public domain highly anticipated. Still no. Still no. Again, another perfect Cuphead skin, right? Betty Boop. I used to watch Betty Boop when I was coming up. I mean, I wasn't born in the 1930s, but they did have reruns when I was a kid, and I loved Betty Boop. Yet another Hallmark cartoon character from the 1930s. Betty Boop is a well-known icon whose images stretch far beyond the scope of her actual media. First appearing in the 1930s Dizzy Dishes as an anthropomorphic poodle. Didn't know that. That's probably why she carries the dog with her everywhere. Betty Boop quickly morphed into a human caricature of a jazz age flapper. Right. Since the first cartoons to use Betty Boop's most well-known likeness came out the same year as Dizzy Dishes, unlike Mickey Mouse, her most iconic iteration will be up for grabs alongside the expiration of her first appearance's copyright. And that makes sense. So, this is the Betty Boop that I grew up with. I didn't even know they had a it was based off a poodle. Had no idea. But yeah, so another Cuphead, skin. I think that would be dope. Now, if we're talking about, there's a way to do this, like with the Hotel Transylvania, and then the even more recent, I can't remember the name, but it was Dracula on the boat. Still haven't seen it. I plan on watching that very, very soon. But perfect. This is the quintessential. He's part of the big four. It's Dracula, Frankenstein, Wolfman, the Invisible Man, and Mummy. So I guess 5. Everyone from Transylvania. But Dracula as a character has long been public domain. Okay, I didn't know that. With his appearance, with the first appearance in Bram Stoker's eponymous novel entering public domain as early as 1962. Since then, he has appeared in countless forms, including within famous superhero comic universes like Marvel and DC. Morbius comes to mind. However, Bela Lugosi's iconic portrayal of the character in Universal's Dracula, released in 1931, will lose copyright protections in 2026, and that's 2 years from now. That's crazy. This means that most people's mental image of Dracula, Widow's Peak and all, will finally be fair play to adaptations by any creator. Very cool. What's funny is like his Widow Peak is like accentuated, if I'm using that right, in other iterations of it. Frankenstein, Universal's Frankenstein, that makes sense. Alongside his fellow classic Universal Ghoul, Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, will be lumbering in the public domain in 2026. Mary Shelley's original novel, Frankenstein, also known as the modern Prometheus, has been public domain for some time, having first been released in 1818. That's freaking crazy awesome. Specifically, Boris Karloff's depiction of Frankenstein's monster, complete with neck bolts and a dangerously heavy brow ridge, will be able to be legally reproduced. Universal's Frankenstein was released in 1931, inspiring sequels like The Bride of Frankenstein, which will take a little longer to catch up in public domain. And Boris Karloff's, and that reminds me of almost said Hitch. The Will Smith led movie where he was the superhero? Hancock. Now, that one's a really interesting one. I would love to see them do a prequel to that, because all the lore that they had covered in that movie, like, I want to know where it came from. But everybody's getting older, so we're quickly coming up on a time where that's going to pass us by. And I hope instead of putting Will Smith in I Am Legend 2, let's get a prequel for Hancock. I would like to see that. That was a sleeper for me. I didn't know it was going to be that good. It was back in the day when you heard that some big actor is going to be in some silly sounding movie. You'd be like, no way. And it turns out to be true. Will Smith, drunk superhero, saving the day. It's like, no, never in a million years. I wouldn't see that. And he did it, and he did a freaking fantastic job in it. I loved it. Pluto, Mickey's Companion. Mickey Mouse isn't the only core Disney mascot to be losing the privilege of copyright in the 2020s. The first appearance of his four-legged friend, Pluto the dog, was in the 1930s. The Chain Gang, in which Pluto was a ruthless bloodhound tracking down Mickey after he escapes from prison, a far cry from their later friendly relationship. Thus, the beloved canine's entry into the public domain is no mystery, unlike the differences between Goofy and Pluto, despite both characters being dogs. Hilarious. That is hilarious. I've always wondered about that. Conan the Barbarian. And here he is fighting Wolverine. And, you know, I like Conan. There's no way he's standing up to Wolverine. Okay. Anyway, the Conan the Barbarian is a franchise with a storied history, first appearing with a series of stories by Robert E. Howard in the Weird Tales magazine in 1932. Conan has since become one of Arnold Schwarzenegger's most iconic roles with the release of 1982's Conan the Barbarian. While Arnold's take on the sword-wielding hero will still be protected, 2027 will see the original conceptualization of the Conan mythos into the public domain, falling out of the grasp of the Norwegian video game company Funcom, who has leveraged the series' imagery in the critically acclaimed MMORPG Conan Exiles. Man, it seems like something that you want to hold on to. But, you know, Universal's the mummy, that makes sense. King Kong. And like I said, the current iteration of King Kong is not up for public domain, probably for the next 95 years. But the claymation King Kong, and it was a hit back in the day. You know, we think this stuff is primitive now. Like I show my kids Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the claymation one or the stop motion one, and they hated it. I loved it growing up, you know, but you know, they're growing up with technology that I wouldn't have dreamed of, you know, back in the day. We were supposed to have flying cars now, by the way, which, you know, that was another thing that was supposed to happen. Didn't. The entertainment part of civilization has sprung forward, you know, faster and further than I could have anticipated. But, you know, I guess practical things like getting from point A to point B. Nah, they won't give us that one. Okay. Let's see. John DBZ says the Popeyes movie was 1980. Are you talking about the one with the late great I'm struggling to think of his name. I was just thinking about him not too long ago. I hope that didn't damage anything. Looks like we're still going. Genie. I can't think of his name for some reason, but yeah, I watched that movie. Loved that movie. You know, it's probably going to hit me towards the end of the stream, but he also said they did try an update version of Conan, but it was really bad. Yeah, with Jason Momoa. Jason Momoa tried to reboot that series. You know how some movies absolutely kill people's careers? The guy is so like crazy handsome, it did not stop his trajectory. It's kind of cool to see. And then lastly, we've got Donald Duck when he actually looked like a duck. So these are all the ones that are going to be hitting public domain in the 2020s. So obviously with your Draculas, your mummies, your Frankensteins, you're definitely going to see them popping up in their original forms, which I think is going to be super cool to see. But you're also going to see Pluto and Popeye. And what I'm really hoping is that people are developing stories for them now, so when they come out, you know, we can have more than just a horror bin to these iconic characters. You know what I mean? But let us move on. So when I read this article, and this is about the modders who are trying to get an offline version of the day before, when I saw this, I thought what they were going to do is take the game and where it's at right now and make it into what it was uh, supposed to be, what it was what do you call it, advertised as, right? But this article is making it seem like they're getting it just so people can play it as is offline, because once they, you know, turn those servers off, this game is gone forever. And I mean, this is kind of a good reason to keep physical media. All the ones who are worried about physical media going away, once I made a video about this, and I didn't mention this. I was just worried about, you know, you having that the information on your computer, and if your computer, you know, shit the bed, you don't have it anymore. You don't have that piece of media anymore. But also, you know, with always online games, you know, once those servers go off, there goes that game, you know. So that's also a reason to get physical media. But what I would like to see is these modders, you know, get it offline and then turn this game into what it was advertised as. You know, I mean, for the sheer novelty of it, of how bad it is, you know, people will play it still, but turn it into something great, you know. And I want to say they have the modders, it's a team of them, but they had the names of the modders. Guys, if you are listening to this, which you're probably not, please turn this into something great, you know, what it was supposed to be as. I mean, there's, not to mention, a whole bunch of money to be made if you take this game and you put it out with everything it is supposed to have. It was the most wish listed game on Steam. There is a market for this game. So, you know, if we're talking about incentives, that's a good one. That's a really good one. And now we're going to be moving on to Days Gone. So the studio that developed Days Gone, they are working on a new IP, and you know, a lot of fans of that game are hopeful and enthusiastic that it's going to be a sequel to Days Gone. The Days Gone devs are making a new game, and we're not okay with the possibility, that we might be getting a much demanded sequel after all. But wait, devs are making a new game, and we're not okay with the possibility that we might be getting a much demanded sequel after all? Huh? Why wouldn't you be okay with that? Ben Studios might be correcting the faux pas with the developers revealing that it's working on a new IP. Naturally, fans are speculating that this new title is actually a Days Gone sequel. Days Gone, the air fryer VR simulator. Joked one gamer, clearly referencing the use of the word cooking by the devs. Yes, where is that? Where is that? It's not in here. Okay. But yes, someone asked the Ben Studios like how that new IP is coming along, and they replied, "We're cooking." It's like, dadgum, like this new age lingo. It's like, I'm not with it. Cap and all that, dude. Maybe I'm just an old curmudgeon now, but you know, stop trying to, you know, hello fellow kids, stop doing that. Stop doing that. And now we're moving on to the more juicy stuff. I'm going to be using this one instead. So Microsoft could be working on its own Switch style controllers. That's my son, he's going nuts in the background. That means my wife is up. But Microsoft is possibly developing a pair of detachable gaming controllers, not unlike the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons. Some recently surfaced patent documentations reveals. Although the appearance of the newly emerged concept is reminiscent of Nintendo's two-part gamepad, the underlying technology appears to hint at Microsoft brainstorming an indirect answer to the immensely popular PlayStation Portal handheld. So we're going to go to the patent pictures. It looks more reminiscent to, you know, the foldable phones that they have now, which I think are interesting. They're cool to look at. I probably wouldn't own one, just because a case for that seems kind of tricky. But So we got the Joy-Cons here, and you got your foldable display right here. And I'm not gonna lie, this really seems like a freaking awesome idea. It doesn't look like it's an answer to the PlayStation Portal. The PlayStation Portal is, you know, on its own. It's in its own area doing this thing, just because it's not a true handheld, you know. And it looks like Microsoft, they're trying to do something different, which I think is freaking cool. John DBZ, was it? Never heard of it. Oh, I'll have to look at that. Which one? Oh, are we talking about the modder story? But John DBZ says, "You not old, buddy. With games, you will never feel old. It's when you hear the new music." That is so true. That's so true. Oh my gosh. Now, I can admit, some of it I do like. I was joking with a friend of mine. Not joking, but I was asking her for ideas or, you know, new music or whatever. She typed lo-fi, but I was like, "Is that lofi? Lofi?" She freaking busted out laughing at me. I may not be crazy old, but I am kind of old. Give me 1 second. Let me go check on this little guy. Which one is it? Oh, here we go. Okay, so yes, but this is a freaking awesome design. I really hope they do this, and this will be really accessible for people who don't have whatchamacallit, Game Pass, especially if they utilize that. If it's just like the PlayStation Portal and it's just remote play, I don't know if they'll have the same success as the remote play. It's been the remote play, or the PlayStation Portal has been immensely successful. But I don't know if Xbox would be able to recreate that. So hopefully they're able to utilize a Game Pass with this. And with that, I think it will blow the Portal out of the water. And I'm a PlayStation fan. But yep, yeah, those are the rumors that are coming out. They have a patent out that is going to, use some crazy looking technology. Now we're moving on to PlayStation in their version of very cool, a very cool idea. So it's been kind of not widely known, but it's been kind of, murmurs going on that they are letting their VR go by the wayside. I want to say they closed the studio that was their bread and butter. And so it, from the outside looking in, it looked like Sony wasn't taking their VR seriously, and they might have been showing it. But with this new patent, they have a Sony's patent odd VR foot controller with giant trackballs. I don't think that's very odd, being able to play this stationary. I mean, you can, using the hand controls and stuff like that, but being able to run in one place is freaking awesome. I think that's a great idea. So, good job, Xbox, for entering into the handheld market finally. I mean, and one of my biggest problems with the PlayStation Portal was with how popular the Steam Deck was and is, and the Rogue Ally came out, I want to say a year before, or close to a year before the Portal did. Not quite a year. I want to, maybe 6 months to a year, right, before the Portal did. And I was like, especially if you're not going to make it an actual handheld, what's the point of releasing it into the foray where you've got Nintendo Switch, you've got the Steam Deck, and you've got the Rogue Ally? But I mean, they did their thing. I wonder if they'll release the numbers of how many they've sold. I want to say it was this is a freaking crazy stat. And this was a month or two ago, and it said that the PlayStation Portal was the third best-selling console of November. I want to say it was in November, and that right there, nuts, absolutely nuts. They're not doing themselves any favors by, a slow leak of product into the stores. I think they would sell many, many more if they would just put it in the stores and have it available for whoever wants to get one, right? But, that's why, they're a $150 billion company, But we've seen generations of hand-operated PlayStation controllers, but what about a peripheral designed for your feet? Sony's latest patent is just that. Sony's last VR patent, sure, is a little unconventional. It's a controller that gamers can operate with their feet, kind of like some sort of inverse roll and rocker from an alternate universe. The device is essentially a big trackball with a housing outfitted by bearings, complete with inertial measurement units like in accelerometer or gyroscope. And I think this is cool. This is awesome. Maybe do it this way instead of just one big ball. Do it with two balls. I promise it's not that kind of live stream, but I think this is a very interesting idea, being able to sit down at your desk or whatever and have the trackballs there, and be able to run and maneuver and everything like that without having to, you know, I mean, how many videos have you seen with, you know, people run into their TVs or hitting someone, you know, you know, make it stationary so you don't have that issue. I think that's a great idea. Sorry about that. I think that's a great idea. Good on them for that. You know, I'm looking forward to what it'll actually look like, because I mean, and that's even if it actually comes out. A lot of these companies, and Microsoft included in that, and Xbox, patents get filed and they never actually, you know, see the light of day. So this could be one of those instances, but if it does come out, I don't know if it'll have, if it will, you know, keep this same kind of look to it, you know. Not gonna lie, that's really basic. It doesn't have that kind of, I mean, I guess maybe it's boxy, kind of like the, you know, PlayStation 4, but, you know, I'm, you know, I can't wait till it comes out. I mean, if I don't get this, which I probably won't, it's, you know, big news. It'll be cool to talk about. It'd be fun to talk about. Same thing for Xbox. I really hope they do that. I think that will be a freaking grand slam for them, especially if they utilize Game Pass. There's no way they can lose on that one. No way. I think it'll blow the PlayStation Portal out of the water. I would definitely get that. Xbox, if you're listening, make that happen for sure. But you know what? Jeez, man, I gotta look up his name. I gotta look up his name because he is one of my most favorite actors. Robert, man. If I can spell Robert. You guys are just gonna have to bear with me. I'm sorry. Oh, okay. Robin Williams. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot that. But yeah, I don't even remember in what context I was using that. I think it was with this one. Oh yeah, Robin Williams, the 1989 movie that they came, or 1980s movies that John DBZ was talking about. Yeah, the Popeyes movie in 1980. That's right, Robin Williams. Freaking awesome. I loved it. I even loved the this guy's funny, Bluto. That guy's awesome. He's fun too. But yeah, so that's all the news we've got for today. Usually what I would do, I'd make a video, but my schedule has been so screwed up with you know, what's going on at work right now. So I haven't been able to make a video. It takes a lot of time, and I try to put as much love and care into it. So it takes me days to get one video done. And don't get me wrong, I'm covering multiple topics, but it takes me days to get it done, to get all the clips that I want to put it into the editing software that I use, which is DaVinci Resolve. It's very, oh my gosh, DaVinci Resolve is probably one of the best editing softwares that you can use, and they have it for free. You know, I got to give it to them. OBS is another one of those. You know, honestly, they could probably make billions of dollars from you know, the stuff that they have. But anyway, how did I get on that? What am I talking about here? But yeah. I usually make a video covering these kinds of topics, but I just haven't had the time. What's going on at work? So I made a live stream. Hopefully you guys like it. Let me know in the comments if you do. But we will be getting back to our regular scheduled deal. We've got Hogwarts Legacy on the menu. I'll be covering that here very quickly because my kids are going to get up really soon, and they're not feeling well. So we got to nurture them back with the orange juice, the water, you know, some toast, crackers, all that good stuff. Maybe some chicken noodle soup. get down and, you know, get them back to 100%. But I thank you to John DBZ. Thank you for coming up and showing out, man. I appreciate it. Seriously, it makes it so much better. I was supposed to have a special guest today, but the way that we're talking is very sporadic. She's really busy on her end too, so I get it. But hopefully we can figure it out, and you know, we can feature her on the channel too. And there's another I want to say, let me get her tag real quick, and I'll probably include it in the description. But we've got on Twitter, gamer with the A as an @ sign, gamergeek17. We want to get on and collab with video games. I'm not sure how we're going to make it work. We wanted to play 2 different video games at the same time with the you know, the 2 games vying to be heard. I don't know how we're going to be able to make that work, but we'll figure something out. So hopefully we've got some collabs coming soon. I'm really excited about it too, but that's what we've got going. So I'll be seeing you guys a little bit later. We're going to get into some more Hogwarts Legacy. Really cool stuff happening with that one. You know, the plot thickens and it's really fun, you know, whimsical, magical. I mean, you can't help but really love that world, you know. So we're gonna be getting to that a little bit later. So thank you guys for stopping by. You guys have a good one. Until the next live stream, keep it casual. Peace.